Hey guys, this is Neon Nezzy, back again with another Destiny6 video. Today I am answering all of your questions from YouTube and from Mobirum. I will be shifting towards the end from YouTube to Mobirum really quick because someone on Mobirum asked a question that relates to early game and someone on YouTube asked a question about late game, and it's a really good transition that I feel I should just focus on at the same time. So just a little heads up over there. Lots of comments on YouTube, only 2 on Mobirum, which is fine because not many people use it right at the moment anyways. Is there anything else I want to say? One thing. Darkalicious, or his IGN is Antonella from the game, posted on Reddit his method of receiving, or achieving, I should say, 300 million contribution points on Destro Boss. So unfortunately, the video was taken down by Fox due to copyright infringement or something like that. However, you can still read his tips on Destro, and I'm gonna try it out too in the next week. So I'll have a link in the description down below. One last thing, I'm not gonna have timestamps simply because there are so many questions, and it's just gonna be really hard for me. All of these questions I have answered them on YouTube. However, I'm just saying them again because people might have these questions at the back of their head and they might not just be asking them, or they just haven't reached the point in the game to ask them. So just trying to help the community out as a whole. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let's get straight into it. First of all, we have a question from Kamui the Psycho. He asks, do you think they will ever buff Rocky Nook? So Rocky Nook has he has a skill on his first ability. This has 2 stacks. He sends like 2 lines that chills opponents, and then the second skill over here hits the opponents twice, and it has a 40% chance each to chill the target. In my opinion, Scissor Nook receives so much love simply because of his leader skill. Yes, he has a life steal, but mostly he's using the striker position for his leader skill, the 20% damage taken reduction buff. I think Rocky Nook just needs a slight buff. I would argue either to make this remove a buff from the target ×1, make that remove a buff plus a shield by 100%. Now, I know that shields are very OP in the game right now, and I don't want to nerf shields. I think that just buffing their counters would nerf shields quite a bit. On the second skill over here, I would suggest they add in another debuff. Instead of a chilled effect, perhaps having a silencing or a blinding effect. That would be really, really good. Next up, we have Kirk Hamilton, who asks, what orbs do you farm mostly and why? Also, do you get enough LAMs to awaken all your heroes? LAMs as in legendary awakening materials. So let me just go into Jin and let me just start farming. Personally, no. I don't get enough LAMs, but then again, you don't need all the LAMs that people think that they need. I've made a video on this. I've struck this point many times. When you really focus on a unit, when you really try to make that unit the best it can be, you can take about a month to farm that unit and make it completely useful. Also, the moment you have one unit, you might not use another unit because that unit suffices and covers the utility that any other unit would provide. So to answer this question very briefly, I would say I only awaken units that are truly unique, and I don't have units that do what they do. Hence, making all of my most useful 6 times awakened natural 5 stars and 4 stars truly impactful to the game. Second, what orbs do you farm mostly and why? Right now I farm mostly Sylvis because of the faction gold buff, and once I get enough gold from that, I then transfer into, as you guys can see here, the Jin, where what I do is I farm concentration orbs so that I can make my Benito one of the best Benitos in the game. Then I also want to, it's basically because a lot of the units can be runed or orbed on concentration. You can make any unit in the game a damage dealing unit, which is why I farm mostly concentration, and for gold I do Sylvis. Tracer L in Curve says, I didn't even know you could give 6% plus 3% attack on the same orb. Is this possible? Yes, it is. It came in on the last patch, or the 2 patches before, with a substat reroll. We had like an entire week of discussions on this. There was a lot of toxicity among the community, and hopefully the developers are working on making it a bit more balanced. Fajar LD says 3k ruby for Skill Dragoon. Worth? In my opinion, not worth. I would rather use the 3k rubies to farm and get keys to farm orbs. Simply because if you're free to play or pay to progress, you're not going to have a lot of rubies to begin with. And every time you get one unit, you're going to be spending almost possibly 10 or 15k rubies on getting the perfect orbs for that unit. Second of all, if you're pay to win, then go ahead, buy. I mean, you guys have the money, so go ahead and spend it. Kirby Carlson Rays asks, Nezzy, how do you know what arena defense you are using? Arena defense is the same as arena offense. So whatever is your arena offense, that's automatically your defense. But in my opinion, defense isn't really a big part of arena right now, because whether you win or lose your defenses, it has no impact on your ranking. You don't lose or gain points. So there's no point in worrying about it right now. Wuda Thought has 2 questions. First, how do you determine whether or not it's worth to go concentration? First of all, here's what I do. I first look at if I can farm Nightmare Boss. If I can farm Nightmare Boss, then I can get pretty good 4-star orbs. And if I can do Giants as well, then I can get pretty good 3-star and 4-star crests. At which point, my chance of going concentration and achieving the 30% crit rate margin is pretty darn good. At which point, I would consider going concentration. And then with titles, you guys can easily achieve over 40%. With the substat rerolls, you guys can easily, without any titles, achieve 40% crit rate as well. Second question is, how do you build Paper Chronos, who doesn't have a specific ord recommendation? For Paper Chronos, all he has is buffs, his first skill and second skill. Yes, he has more attack than defense, but having more attack doesn't really do much. If it were up to me, I would just orb him or orb him on Vitality just to make the team tankier. Then we have Ian Hussey, who says, hey man, love the videos. Hey, thanks bro. I was wondering if you know the maximum percentage on each stat on Crest. In my experience, the most I've received on Crest is 7.0%. I've heard some people get 7.5%. I've never heard or seen about an 8.0 or 8.5% on Crest. However, it could be possible. Heck Putamo asks, can you 3-star Hell Conquest? If not, how would you do it? Hell Conquest, in my opinion, we've talked about this before. As time goes on, your bleed gets less and less effective, meaning that the damage per tick goes down, which is why towards the end, people generally have the boss at like 1% or 10% HP, at which point they come back in with another team and finish the boss off, which is what a lot of the members in my guild do. I mean, if you start off with a nuking composition, you're not going to be able to nuke the boss down, or especially hell bosses, within the 2 minutes that is given to you, or the minute and a half that is given to you. And if you come with a bleed team, then the bleed team gets weaker and weaker as time goes on. Towards the end, your bleeds are not doing anything. So in my personal opinion, in my experience, I have been able to 2 times attack the hell boss, if that makes sense. Lightbringer asks, he told me to make a video on top 3-star and 4-star monsters that are usable. I will make a video on that within the next week or 2. Jevin Lizardo asks, do you buy a common key pack every day? No, I do not. I just use orbs, and I know, what am I saying? I just use rubies to buy more keys, and then purchase those keys and then farm orbs overnight. In my opinion, the only packs that are worth buying are the 15,000 pack, where you get for $50, the Skill Dragoon packs, the 7-day packs, and the Haggler pack or something, whatever it's called. I think those are the only packs that I personally would consider ever buying. What is worth buying on the black market? That is a question from Bruno Alcantara Silva. I think I said that right. In my personal opinion, I would say any kind of keys, as well as any must-have 5-star units. If there's a certain 4-star unit in there that you really, really need, go ahead and purchase it as well. But any must-have 5-star units or 4-star units is the only thing that I would consider ever purchasing. Those evolved dragoons or any kind of summoning materials or evolving materials or evolution mats, I never buy any of those. The only things I ever buy are keys and a must-have natural 5-star, such as maybe Paper Adonis or Elky, just really, really meta units. Gabriel Barbosa asks, alright. Okay, his question is, my account is pretty good right now, I mean the units. I got stuck in Korea's server. Is it worth change servers even with a great account? I mean, many people will play on Asia or whatever, so I doubt this doubt disturbs a lot of new players. Personally, yeah, I would always play on Asia, but if you are playing on Korea, I would suggest hold on, because after the global release, more people might start playing, making the server much more, giving the server a higher population. Also, like most games, hopefully when this game goes global, they will offer you a once in a lifetime opportunity to change servers, in which case you guys can change the servers to whatever you guys want. If you already have meta units, don't do it. Don't say goodbye to all your progress and just build another account from scratch just because you think you're on the wrong server. Okay, Henrique Gomes says, do you think it's worth to farm Giants 7 instead of Giants 8 with the one with break? Personally, always farm the best, the one that you can farm. Always go the highest you can. If you can farm 8 with like 100% success rate, but it just takes longer, still farm 8, because rates on 8 on the 8th level are much better. But if you fail on 8th, but you can always do the 7th stage, then go ahead and do the 7th stage. Do you think they will give us the option to move account from global when the release comes, like they did in Summoner's War? I think they should. Again, I'm not on the developers team, but I think they should definitely have the option to change servers when they do the global release. Can you extend break times and faction boss with consecutive breaks? Yes, you can. But if you go ahead and read the link at Darkalicious, you will get more insight on this. Personally, I have been doing the consecutive breaks, and yes, it does help amplify damage by a lot. J15 says, how do you keep yourself motivated when you don't pull the units you really, really like? My answer to this is by remembering the rates on Summoner's War. Like, the and then J15 replied, oh no, the PTSD from summoning on Summoner's War. The rates here are pretty darn good, and in all honesty, even if you don't have a really meta unit that you really need, I think it's just you wanting that meta unit that makes the game a bit dull, because I'm sure that you have other units in the game that could replace the unit, or not do exactly what the unit does, but do enough to compensate for lacking that specific unit. Sven Fassbender, do you have a spot free for me in your guild? The guild currently is full. We have 29 members, but I'm saving the last spot for Turius. He was the guild vice who I kicked. I held off on kicking him for 5 days. Apparently he went out of town, but I did not get the memo, and I was very reluctant, but I was like, he's been inactive for 5 days, so I just kicked him. Turius, if you're watching this, dude, please reapply. I will let you in ASAP. No questions asked. Brady Haight? I don't know how to say her last name, dude. I'm so sorry. Do you know if they plan on adding a new 5-star to the Descended Dungeon? I would like a new challenge. Yeah, dude, I don't know. Like, I remember when I was at level 20 or level 30, they had the Julian and Yona in the dungeon, and I was trying to farm them, but obviously I couldn't. And now that I can, like, auto nightmare mode, I know for a fact that I could do pretty well on those dungeons, but I just haven't seen those 5-star dungeons in like the longest time. Matt Brackenbury asks, do you like pineapple on your pizza? How is this game related? Personally, off topic, yes, I love pineapple on my pizza, especially if you have like jalapenos or habaneros. They add the spice. You have some meat in there, like bacon with some smoked chicken, and then the pineapple for the sweetness. I think it's great. I don't know why some people have a problem with Hawaiian style pizzas. Childish plays, Childish, the man, the myth, the legend, asks, will you make a new account if and when this game goes global? Personally, I'm the kind of player that makes an account and just sticks to the account. And I have made a lot of videos because I made my account I started making videos on I think January 29th. I started playing the game on January 28th. So like within a day of playing the game, I started making videos. At which point what happened was that my videos are basically a really good guide on themselves from starting to late game, because I make videos like every day for like the first month, and after that it was like every 2 days because stuff started to get pretty darn busy. But if people want me to make a new account and make it solely free to play, I guess I could do it, but unless there are really big shifts in the meta, I would just ask people to watch my videos, because if you just go through my videos, it is a very strict timeline. It is like the legit timeline of me starting the game as a complete newbie and then progressing into late game. Fancies HD asks me, how far do you think free-to-play in this game can get as far as in arena? How far do you think free-to-play get in this game as far as arena, realistically? Realistically speaking, free-to-play is all you need in arena, in my opinion. I've done the math here before. All you need is to do 15 arena keys a day, at which point you reach Master 2 or Master 1, at which point you get 2250 or 2200 rubies for basically spending nothing. And free-to-play, I think if you purchase arena swords, you can get pretty darn high. But with the substat changes, I don't think you can get... Well, actually, no. Even with the substat changes, because the AI is so dumb, I would suggest free-to-play people can get within the top 1,000. Maybe not... Or the top 500 for sure. They can get to the top 500 for sure, as long as they have pretty good quality orbs and crests. After that, it just gets like who can pay more and buy more keys, because the more you do, the higher you get in Destiny 6. Demons23. What do you do about the influx of stupid evolved Dragoons? 6-star after 6-star? If so, the loading annoyings the shit out of me as well. You feels like you got to summon just to get enough things to feed them into. Bro, your English is so hood right now. Like, it is straight from the hood. I'm not even kidding. And I don't even feel like building any mons really. So just go for 6-star to Legendary Awakening mats from Codex and hope you don't mix them up and put them into Forge if that's right. If only it takes... So first of all, Evolved Dragoons, I just dismiss them. We did make a point in our earlier video about having possibly just a separate storage for Evolved Dragoons. As for, I only focus, personally, I haven't been going into the Forge yet. I haven't been doing the make random units 6 stars and then put them into Forge, because I'm not that late game yet. However, in my opinion, just make the units that you want. Otherwise, just dismiss the Evolved Dragoons. Oh, and if it didn't take that much time to feed things, I think he's just bummed because he says he isn't from Korea, but he's on the Korean server. Again, when the game goes global, we should hopefully be able to switch servers. Also, feeding 4 stars. You ever think which might be really useful for the next faction boss? Let's say poison is his weakness or shock. I know some 5 stars, but never bothered too much with the 4-star options. In my opinion, I made a video on Strikers and Nightmare Auto. Those are the 4-stars that you really can use. And honestly, right now, if we go to my storage, there are a bunch of 4-stars that I have in there simply because I don't need the fodder. And I've looked over their units, I've looked over their skills, and I just know that they might be useful in the future. Like some of them have a crit rate increase, like the Scissor Griffin or Scissor Cadis, I think, or like the Scissor Ignis has silence and blinding on his abilities, I think, which is pretty darn good. What are your thoughts on Arena, PvP in general, especially the defensive part? I think they should make it a bit more like Summoner's War, because I find like, Demons, I'm sorry, this was very last minute, alright? I didn't even see your comment until now. In my personal opinion, I like the RNG factor, just like Summoner's War, where you might or you might not land the debuff, you might or you might not strip. However, I don't like the AI. If the AI gets fixed, because in Summoner's War, what happened was that you could potentially only reach Fighter 1 or Fighter 2, and then you would just hit this iron wall because your orbs are what mattered. Here, it's like you could have the shittiest orbs possible, but you just buy a ton of arena keys, and your win rate might be absolute crap, but if you do enough arena keys, you can go up as high as you want. So I think when it comes to arena, they just need to make it make the AI a bit smarter, and maybe somehow make the effect of orbs and crests have a lot more weight. Lastly, Tasia, she absolutely loves me. Am her favorite most player in the game. Apparently, she feels like she needs to join my heroes over and over again. I'm gonna 6-star both and feed some Ragoons, but which one would you skill up or use her for food? I have no idea how the explode on dots. So the explode on dots, I think that's the paper Tasia. It's basically just to do immense damage, and that's the only one that I will use in arena. I think it's the scissor Tasia that has the shock, which Dark Alicious actually has a video on Reddit where he does a 0-second run on the Death Hinge Giant, the one that's sustainable to shock and doesn't need breaks to be beaten. That one, he literally has a 1 second or 0-second team, so that's a pretty good Tasia right there. My Giant seems like 6 seconds, could be faster, but I don't really mind. Alright, so now I'm going to shift on to Mobirum and just answer the 2 questions here. First off, we have Sebastian Rarela. I don't know how to say that. Nezzy, in the future update of Destiny 6, do you think they will be able to implement a real-time PvP mode? Hopefully, yes. But for right now, I think the game just needs to release more content that you can play with your friends and just get guild wars or guild battles or whatever they're going to call it out as soon as possible. But maybe in like a year or two, because Summoner's War took like what, 3 years to bring out RTA? So I don't see why Destiny 6 would do it anytime sooner. I don't know why they would bring out RTA before bringing out Guild Wars. Second is from Moosh X. Nezzy, talk about team composition, how to identify the main characteristics of heroes. Another good topic would be what hero to skill up first. I recently posted about what to do on the game. Okay, so he has a pretty good question over here. He says, I'm a new player at Destiny 6 and I need some help finishing scenarios and getting higher levels at Crossix, especially Giants on Farm Team. How long has this video been going on to? This is 24 minutes. I don't want to make it too long. Right now I'm in Jin Hell difficulty. My plan is to be getting Nightmare mode for 4-star orbs. So basically, I read this thing before. He asks if Nightmare has better rates when it comes to 4-star orbs. In short, yes it does. Crossix Giants, you can auto the level 51. That's fine. You really can't do much. I told you guys to just revive and get to the 8th stage, and then on the 8th stage make your team, because once you guys reach the 8th stage, there's no point in going backwards. There's no point in going into your smaller or the lower levels. you say you have you're pretty early game. He posted a few of his pictures of his units. Personally for me, I would say just go on farming hell for about a week, I think. Get 4-star orbs. Once you get 4-star orbs, put whatever crest you can on your units. Make sure your units are 6 times awakened, at least the important ones, the meta ones. Make them 6 times awakened, 6-star them, give them good titles, give them decent crest. They don't have to be very substat specific because you're not doing Nightmare yet. That's all you need for hell, and maybe some skill ups on your support units. If you have Adonis, 6-star or max skill his shield. If you have Elki, max skill her heal. You get my point. Now let's go on to Mertcan Duredi. I think that's how you say it. Hello Nazi, thank you for all your videos. I really appreciate it a lot. I've learned a lot. Thanks, man. That's the whole point. I have some questions for you. Yeah, he wrote a freaking essay here. Holy cow. So in short, I'm just going to tell you guys what he said. He gave me a list of his units, and he told me that his Nightmare team's at 85%. 85% right now. Oh, whoops. He was the guy who asked me if Nightmare has better rates. Nightmare does have better rates. He says he always keeps 8,000 crystals to get a really good Nat 5 from Black Market. That's a legit strategy. That's fine. He says Nightmare runs take about 3 minutes while he can do 30 to 40 second hell runs. In my opinion, Nightmare is pretty worth it. Your 3-minute runs, are they on the boss stage? Because boss stage should not be taking that long. Looking at the units that you have, I would suggest you make your team looking at or comprising of Scissor Elki, Rock Jun, and Paper Chen. That's Scissor, Paper, Rock. So you can always have the advantage leader with your Nook Striker. This is going to be a legit comp for you. Make sure they're all really great units, except for Scissor Nook. You don't need to really focus a lot on him. As for Elki, Chen, and Jun, I would suggest you go ahead and you make them 6 stars, awaken them 6 times, give them good titles, good orbs, good crests, complementing substats, and get their cooldown reduction to about 30 or 40% each for Nightmare. That way your run should be at about 95% or even higher, and your run should also be a lot faster. Secondly, I don't know what I should be doing right now, just farming hell to get better orbs and giants. What I really need to focus on, I would suggest just farming more orbs and crests. Select a unit, make that unit really OP, and then move on to the next one. That's just what I've been doing. Right now, until the game releases anything new, it's kind of hard to keep yourself focused or to keep yourself interested in the game. So what I've been doing is just looking at a unit of mine, let's say Rock Benito. He's my current project right now, which is why I'm doing Jin. I look at my Rock Benito and I just look at him and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make one of the best Rock Benitos in the game, which is what I'm going for right now. Brock AUH3 asks, oh, he just told me to click on show the substats when I do my videos, which I do, and I will continue doing them in the future. Kurni Awan says, is it worth to buy a 5-star natural evolution material in the black market? First of all, I don't know. I don't know what exactly you're trying to ask, because you say 5-star Nat Evo material. So if you're talking about 5 stars, such as Scissor Carlota, Paper Adonis, Rock Jun, Scissor Elki, Rock Benito, etc., I would say yes, buy them if you don't have them already. However, if you're talking about evolution materials, then no, don't buy them, because enhanced dungeons, what are they called? The daily dungeons, they're not that hard to do. Even if you have to manual them, go ahead and manual the highest dungeon possible to get your materials from them rather than buying them on the black market. So that's it, guys. Those were all the questions. I hope you guys liked the video. Hope you guys are satisfied with my answers. If people who ask me questions are not, go ahead and let me know and I will give you guys further clarification. If you guys have any other questions or any kind of tips or future video titles or topics that you want me to cover in the future, let me know. If you guys like my content, give me a like, subscribe to my channel, helps keep me motivated. And until the next time, guys, Neon out.